Welcome to the Josh Button Podcast, where we discuss health, wellness, and outliers from society. Let's go! Episode 49. Before you heal someone. Hippocrates said, before you heal someone, ask if they are willing to let go of the things that made them sick. I cannot think of a more relevant idea and a more relevant, motto for any of the healers out there. And what do I mean by healers? The breathwork practitioners, the personal trainers, the modalities that aren't putting pharmaceuticals into a victim, excuse my French, or a customer. There are tried and true, proven methods to heal and to restore and to rejuvenate. And all of us by now should be aware of some of them because they've been attacked so abundantly by the mainstream voices. As we all know, if you're in the business of, treating people, you're not going to have a very successful business if you treat them successfully, if you heal them. So, when you are entertaining the idea or the possibility of becoming healed, first and foremost, you have to actually recognize and accept what has been making you sick. In personal development and self-mastery, we have to identify the things that are holding ourselves back just as much as we need to add curriculum or information or data to our system to make us wiser, smarter, or more prepared for situations and opportunities. If we become aware of the things that are holding us back and we do not give them up, we do not relinquish them, are we really progressing like we should? And the answer is obvious. It's no. If we come to accept things in our life that are knowingly holding us back and weighing us down, we have to be, abundantly ready for change. And we must relinquish them. We must graduate from them. We must give them up one way or another. This episode is special for me because I wanted to do it on the holiday, on Memorial Day, and I just had too many things going on away from here. But Memorial Day was 7 years sober for myself. And I don't want a pat on the back. I don't want applause or any of the recognition for this because this was simply something that was holding me back. It was either inevitable, I would give it up, I would relinquish it, or it would continue to weigh me down. As often as we hear how difficult it is to become independent and to give up dependency and to quit alcohol and all of these other things that are commonly accepted that are known to hold us back, it really is just a choice. It really is just a choice. And I, for years, said, I'm not ready on all kinds of different things, whether it be alcohol or partying or things that would be significant signs of maturation. I made the excuse I wasn't ready or, when I'm ready. And cigarettes, I even smoked cigarettes for a while. And that was one of those things where I was like, I need to quit this. Everybody knows they need to quit it, but they don't do it. And why not? We just hold on to these things for pain and because of pain, but for reasons other than that are, really, they're signs that we feel some kind of way about ourselves, whether we're worthy enough, whether we are entertaining thoughts all day long that are negative and that are drowning out the voices, the inner voice of positivity and freedom and what we can accomplish. Now, for myself, alcohol was that one final thing that really changed my life, really put me on an alternate path from what I was on for the 20 years before. And it was because it was such a challenge for myself. And it was something that, it was accepted. It was normal. And in my timeline, as soon as I relinquished control and I gave up to the universe and to the world's what they expected and I did what was best for me, well, my life definitely changed. I was far more capable of eliminating all kinds of toxic habits and toxins themselves. I became more aware. I started to learn more about myself. In those times of discomfort, when I was really tempted, I was introduced to tools that help, well, overcome and help endure. The breath work, I've talked about this a million times. That was one. Yoga, meditation, workouts that I had never done before that were absolutely stimulating. I've had an ongoing debate with someone here recently about the validity of balance and stability training. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I, for one, will scream from the mountaintops about absolute performance increases across all areas of my life from engaging balance and stability training. I had good balance when I started, but the increased demands for better balance that I was purposely choosing, that I was doing on my own, led to adaptations in all kinds of areas of my performance in my life. It was not deniable. It's not debatable. I got stronger. I got more focused. I was more energized. I saw improvement on the balance boards and the slack lines and the the stability balls and all of these different modalities that I was employing. But I also saw increased performance in my studies and in my focus and in all kinds of other areas. Surfing, the sports and the things that I was enjoying at the time, it wasn't debatable. I should not have been progressing at the rate I was progressing in several different areas, but I could only attribute them to that practice, balance and stability training. Now, all of the other things that I was engaging at that time definitely had a contributing role, but I felt and I saw the increases and I saw the adaptations and I saw the improvement every single time I stepped on a slack line or a balance board. So it was that initial decision to relinquish was not serving me, to eliminate the toxins and the habits that were toxic, that even led me to holistic remedies, that led me to engaging routine and practice, which has served me so well since, to exchange old information for new information when it presented itself, even if I wanted to fight it at that first initial instinct. Like the veganism, when I was plant-based. When I was introduced to plant-based, it wasn't that, challenging of an idea. I kind of watched some of the same documentaries that people have watched and thought, oh, this industrial farming is horrific. Why would I support this? Oh, we don't. And then I, had certain different voices that, suggested we didn't need animal proteins and we didn't need to farm these animals for food. And this information to me wasn't really something I needed to debate or needed good reasoning for. I figured I would just try veganism and try plant-based lifestyle. And it worked out for a little while. I lost some weight and I thought I was doing great with it. But I was capable of entertaining information that had conflicted with that when my health started to deteriorate. When I started to realize I was pretty underweight and my hair health, my nails health, my skin color, my skin, the acne, the things that, my digestion, the things that you would think should have been made better by this diet were not. They were actually harmed by it. And after a year plus, I knew it. I knew there was something going on or I was ill in some other way. And when information was presented to me that was completely different than what I had been following for the last year and a half, I was open to it and I was able to entertain it. And change is inevitable. Look, it is inevitable in life. And if you don't change the things that are making you sick, you don't change the things that are not serving you, well, you are going to change. And for the most part, it's not for the better. It's for the worse. And that's how we learn in certain circumstances. And that's how we learn that certain things are not working. Mind you, I hope that we learn these things quickly enough that we can reassess and change the direction and the course and adapt. But that doesn't always work out for everyone. We've We've seen it over and over with friends and family and people in our lives. Unfortunately, not everybody is willing to change, and not everybody can entertain the ideals that differ from what they believe and what they've been accustomed to. And that in itself is shameful, because if you knew you could restore your health and you could rejuvenate your life, I think most people would. And I would like to think that most people, when they're really shown the results that other people have by doing something, would entertain those actions. However, this isn't the case, really. It's unfortunate, because some people do not believe they can get the same results that other people have gotten. They don't believe they're worthy of the same results. And it all boils down to they're not willing to give up the things that made them sick in the first place or have not served them. How can we expand our lives and add new goals if we're not improving? And if we're not improving, how can we set our course to improve? I think the reality is that if we are willing to give up the things that have made us ill in the beginning, or from the last however long we've been caught in ruts, and we're willing to get rid of them, then we will be introduced to the things that will restore us, the things that will rejuvenate us, the things that will lead us to a better existence, to health. Once you have set yourself into a trajectory of gains of health, you're far more willing to share these things with people that are looking or seeking or are looking for the same results that you've had. If you're a bodybuilder and you're in the gym and you're 275 pounds of solid muscle and you're super lean, and somebody that's not quite there or that wants to get to that point comes and asks you a question in the gym, you're far more likely to be heard, and you're far more likely to want to share if you've already demonstrated the results. So when are we going to take advice from people who have demonstrated the results that we want, far more than those that hide behind a certification or a pen and paper and an education that is obviously not serving you and not setting you up to achieve the goals that you want? There was a PhD arguing with somebody online earlier about the system of treatment we've had for this virus in the last few years. Obviously, I'm wording this very carefully. And their position on it was, oh, if you cannot argue the science and you do not understand it, you have no opinion whatsoever. And I thought about how absolutely insane that is, how dangerous that is, and how that person is setting themselves up for failure, because they're not going to even entertain information that goes against their bias, against what they've learned, against what they've been told by the establishment that they trust, that they've been, well, set up to be part of. And yes, we all want to be part of a community. But don't we all want to be part of a healthy, vibrant, rejuvenating community? That, I do not believe, is what we see in the current system of healthcare. For the most part, we see management. We see people that are quick to prescribe things that you will either take for life or you'll become dependent on, or things that aren't really helping us accomplish the actual goal in the first place. Are we willing to give up what has made us sick? If your answer to that is yes, you will find the modalities that will serve you. You will find the holistic approach. It will be presented to you and it will work for you because it's worked time and time again. Breath work. The broken record of Button. All right, there's so many different kinds of breath work. I made a post on this week, and I've done the list here of what I thought were the best breathwork modalities several times. And I think there's a place for almost all of it. And the certifications for different methods are all great. But I do not think you can stop with one and let that be the end all be all for yourself. If you really want to understand what's attainable through these practices, what can be accomplished with these practices. I myself am focused on performance. Midlife jiu-jitsu grappler, I want to be able to perform as well as possible. I want to be able to, obviously I can't hang with the 18 to 22-year-old kids that are in impeccable shape in a cardio fashion, but I would like to be able to improve my condition still for a while before the inevitable and the obvious decline in performance. So all of these things that are, well, free, easy, and proven time and time again, I will entertain. Breathwork has been one of the absolute best, but there's also other things that I haven't even gotten to yet. And I'm not going to limit myself because I feel so strongly about one area of breathwork, or because I feel so strongly about one area of balance and stability training. Expand. And once we decide to give up the things that don't serve us, once we decide to give up the things that make us sick, I think these things will keep presenting themselves. And your expansion, your growth, well, it's unlimited. It's absolutely unlimited. No, I'm not saying don't get certifications. I'm not saying don't, focus on something that's really serving you, but be open to the next chapter, the next things that will come along, because inevitably they will. And just talking about training, if you're going in to do the same basic exercises and you're doing them over and over and over again, you're doing the same rep amount, you're going to plateau at some point. And you're not going to see the same gains that you were seeing when you initially set out into the activities. So that's when you change it up. That's when you add in something. That's when you take a new approach to create new demand so that your body will adapt. Your system can increase in so many different ways when you start introducing new modalities and new challenges and creating new adaptations, often new demands. That's just the way it works. And I think our lives are unlimited in the same way once we decide and agree to give up the things that are not serving us and the things that did make us sick in the first place. Just what I've been thinking about this week. Like, I don't even know, I have no idea where my life would be had I not given up alcohol. I know I wouldn't be in the same course I'm on. And I know that I would have the same stresses I had prior to that decision. The same inner need to not have the same health outcomes I had witnessed so many times. And not to be a dependent upon the healthcare system, which has failed so many people around me. Once you've seen something not work over and over and over and over again, that is also a choice to either continue via the same methods and the same system, or to look elsewhere, to try something else. Look, healthcare is making some people sick. If they're not willing to give up that model, to give up that same dependency, well, they're probably not going to be healed by you, themselves, or anyone for that matter. I'm Josh Button. This was episode 49. Looking forward to episode 50 because I got something big planned. Well, big for me. And it's a graduation of sorts. And I'm stoked on it, and I hope it all works out. I don't want to even talk about it anymore to jinx it. But thanks for joining me today. I will talk to you all again very soon. This is the Josh Button Podcast.